Satnam Karta Purkh Nirvair Nirvair Prakar Murti Juni Sapang Gur Prasad Jap Hare Sache Jugad Sache Happy Sache Nanak Hosi Pi Sache Ik Oankar Satnam Karta Purkh Nirpao Nirvair Akal Murti Ajuni Sapang Gur Prasad Jap Adi Sache Jugad Sache Happy Sache Nanak Hosi Pi Sache
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Okay, it's so funny. I'm like, okay, so today, recently I've just been thinking about how much or how hard it is to actually keep kiss. And like me recently, like I feel like I just recently got like kiss on my face. So then I was like thinking about like other BB and how amazing they are and how strong they are. So I was like, let's do this live, Benji. And then I brought Benji here against her will. So it's gonna be great.
Blackmail. Don't do it.
But there's just been moments where I was like, oh, I really want to like how does this feel? How is this like and stuff, right? So, you know, Marriage Kirpak, and it took forever, but Marriage Aap Karave. So, first question, what is it? This is your interview, Benji. No, I was
My
thinking...
name is Herbjörg.
Oh, yes, I'm so sorry, Benji. Okay, introduce yourself. Please don't introduce yourself as Herbjörg.
My name is Herbjörg. I'm a nursing student.
She is Herbjörg Benji's sister. Her name is...
Jagavir Kaur.
And then, do you want to share anything about yourself?
No. I'm just kidding.
I'm saving this, Benji. But...
Yeah, my name is Jagavir Kaur. I'm old. I did my university degree in political science.
I'm becoming a police officer.
Yeah.
And
hopefully manage to get back on. All of you bless me, please.
And manage to take Seva from us both and go their side. So, do you want to add anything?
No.
I'll just cut you off.
No.
But, so I was thinking about like doing Binti, and like when we always say like, Kesa Swasa Nal Nibta, like, you know, like, what a huge thing that is, that we're like, to the end of my life, like, you know, nothing else but gays. Like, that's all I was thinking about. But then, like, it's easy to say, but it's actually hard to do. So that's what inspired this live, or made me think about it. So I wanted to talk about, like, what are experiences like? So every single day, like, what is it like living in this sansar, or living in this life with gays? So, like, whether it's, like, at work, at other side, whatever it might be, right? So, what's the first question? G. How is navigating gays at work? How is, like, your everyday? Okay, so what's your, like,
Okay, well, so for me, I'm just gonna talk about my journey with gays. So it's been, luckily I was born, and I was born into a family that had the dawn of Amrit. So I grew up having gays. Like, I've had gays since I was like basically like 10 years old. So even in elementary, I used to be the kid that like would tie patka to school. So it's always been a very fun time with patka and dresses and kurpas on top. But I've had me and my sister. So my sister Viveka, we've had gays since we were very young. So we've had this journey with gays for a long time. So for me, it's something I've grown up with. And then same thing, Amrit, like Manoj blessed us with Amrit when we were in junior high, and it was just kind of like a given. It was never like, oh, I really want to take Amrit. It was just always like, yeah, like that's the whole purpose of my life, if that makes sense. So that is my childhood. So growing up having kids, there's a lot of complexities, and like you have a lot of things you need to overcome. I think for me, where I really truly accepted my gifts was in high school, I would say, like high school, university. but I think the one thing that, so like when you're a kid, like obviously you grew up, not that I was like bullied per se, but like people would make comments like, are you a boy, are you a girl? And I'd be like, I'm a girl, duh. Like I never questioned it. And then like there's been moments where like I have been like where you have moments where like somebody is like, they look at your case with disgust. So there's been moments like that, like growing up as well. So like navigating through that and realizing that doesn't define you. Like I remember like this one time I was like, these girls were talking about like shaving. It was like grade 7 or something, and then I was like, oh no, I was like, I have to show you something. And I like showed her my legs, and there's like, they're so hairy, and I was like, is this me? she's like, oh, okay. And I was like, it's funny because like you not being accepted from a young age, but then on the other hand like getting a lot of love from home, and like having a sibling that's going through like the exact same thing really helps. So accepting my case, that was a journey, but I think when it happened was because Maharaj blessed us with seva at Gurdwara Sahib, like with teaching like kids classes and stuff, like, or organizing and doing seva there. So I think that's like lecturing others about like Sikhi and case. You really just sit there and you're talking to yourself at the same time. So it's like case for me at the end of it, it's just kind of like, to sum it up, I guess, it just represented, it's something bigger than myself. Like me having my case is not me dealing with it myself. It's like me being a BB, like Amritari BB, and having case represents something so much bigger than just my own like weaknesses, my strengths or whatever. It's like big picture, like I'm doing it for Maharaj. So that's my that's how I kind of accepted it, because I'm like, yo, me having my case is not for me, like it's a struggle that I go through, but it's not just a happiness for me. Like I don't sit there and like love my case for me. It's because it's something bigger, right? Like it's for the Panth. Like I'm doing, it's my seva towards a Panth, being that representative.
That's crazy, because like even me, like as a kid, I remember like I was small and I never had, like I had less, like really little kids, like we would wear like shorts and stuff. And it's crazy, like being in Sangat with like you guys and everything. Like I'm like, this is normal. This is cool. Like you know, like it's just the normal. And I feel like if I didn't have that Sangat, like it would be so hard to keep case. Like it wouldn't be seen as the norm and stuff. So I was like that was amazing, because even for all like the younger BBN now, like definitely makes such a big difference. I was like, I love Benji with case. I was like, but what do you like? How a lot of people like. I remember like a lot of Benji, like they would share, like they'd be like, oh, like they'd get sad when they get mistaken for a guy. So like and like Benji's like told a few stories and stuff of like when it happens to her and stuff, and you're just chilling. So I'm like, how is that?
I was like, okay.
Me, as you think about it, when I was a kid, I was like, people would say that, and I'd be like, you know, like as a kid, you would want to be like a singer. You're like, you know, I can do this too, right? I can do like this seva, that seva, whatever, right? I am a singer, right? So I used to take it as such a good thing, right? I'm like, yeah, like being mistaken as a guy, it's great. We're equal. Marriage made us equal.
That's so funny. I was like, I don't know. It's so I think at the beginning, like in like because I was like it was a question that was asked to me at such a young age, like. Literally grade 1 used to go with a patka, like a dress, right? Like even if you knew Sikhi, you'd still be confused. You'd be like, So I feel like getting asked that question like from like day 1, like honestly, like I remember sitting in grade 2 and like one of the guys would sit there and be like, are you a boy, are you a girl, right? And like just to make me mad, and like recognizing that like the intention behind his question was important, because he was asking to hurt me. Whereas like some like now, like as I'm older, people are asking because they genuinely like are curious, or like they're ignorant, right? Like they don't know, or like especially this day and age, like with like the social norms and stuff of like people like changing genders and stuff like that. So it's like it's sad, not sad, but like it's a legitimate question in some cases. So I think now it's something that I don't take as well. So like for me, it's like, first of all, I'm not a psychologist, so I don't know if this is a good thing to say or not, but like, so don't take anything I say like literally. This is just my own personal how I navigate through that. So literally like at work, like I work at Rogers right now, and I'm working at Khalsa School as a youth teacher right now. So it's like, so at Rogers, like working in a retail environment, it's funny because like you'll have people that will straight up like just assume you're a guy, and like they'll just straight up, and it's funny because it's like, if I'm tired, like I'll just go with it. I'll just make my voice a little bit lower, be like yeah, and like end the transaction, get them out of the way. I was like, I don't feel it necessary to like correct every person. Like it doesn't matter to me. Whereas like there's some moments where like some people will be like, they'll be confused, like they'll be like she, and I'm like, yeah that's me. Like I'll encourage it, like yeah that's me, and I'm like, it's okay. Like I'll make them feel comfortable. Like I don't care for being right over somebody else's like discomfort. Like I'll just be like, yeah, no, I'm a girl. Like I'll just say it, and then I'll say it's okay because like they're confused, like they've never seen somebody like me before, so it makes sense. And then but other times, like I don't know, like I personally,
but
like,
I love that, like you never take it negatively, like you never get offended, you never get sad.
I feel like it's, for me personally, like they don't have to like, because for me I like dressing gender neutral clothing anyways as well, so like I just make their lives harder. But I was like but like for me personally, it's not something that's an offensive. So if somebody's asking me, like it's their intent, right? Like if somebody's asking me and they're being like rude about it, like they want to make me feel bad about it, then like I'll go out of my way to give a response. Whereas like if somebody's just asking me what they like, they're actually like they don't know, then I'll be like yeah. And then like there's been moments where like I've had deep conversations like about like, oh yeah, like why I keep my gaze, this is what it represents, this is what it's meant to be, and then like making parallels towards like society today and like how much emphasis we put on like body image and stuff like that. So it's like, it's a cool thing because I'm like, yeah, like my group knows a lot, right? Like there's like, you know, having kids really opens you up to those type of conversations of like empathy and like understanding. So like it's just, yeah, if somebody asks me am I a guy or a girl, I'm like, yeah, I'm a girl. And then like if they want to ask more about it, I'm happy to give them knowledge.
If anybody else has a question, you can put it in the chat. I mean in the chat. But and then we can talk about that. And if you think there's anything else we want to talk about, but it's crazy because I always like, I'm like, you like always get, you're so beautiful all the time. Like it's crazy, like whether it's at like go their side or like you even from hospital, like you're just looking and I like, you know, I genuinely am like, wow, you're so beautiful. Like it's crazy, right? Like I feel like it's so easy to like think about it, like overanalyze it when it's like it's not a big deal. But the other thing that I was thinking about was, okay, this story, okay, can you explain what happened? So Penzi was working in Khalsa school, and this kid asks her, right? They're like, do you have a beard? And please share what you said. No, okay. Why do you have a beard? What was the question?
Yeah. So like kids, okay, so I work at Khalsa school as a harmonium teacher. I'm just working there temporarily. But it's funny because like kids, if any of you work around kids, like junior high kids, they're psychotic, okay? So like these kids will go out of your way to make your life hard, okay? So these kids are like trying to hear it and like they like purposely try to get under your skin. So these kids like come up to me and like, I know some people like are sensitive about like body image and like people like, so these kids like they're going out of the way. It's like a group of like grade 7 boys, right? And they're coming up to me and they're like, why do you have a beard? Why do you have a mustache, right? And I'm like, cause I'm better than you.
And it's crazy because if I was in that situation, I live in a cave. I don't go anywhere. I just go home. I sit at home and go to the side, right? But I'm like, how do you deal with a situation like that? And Benji, that's how Benji deals with a situation like that.
And then it's funny because it's like, because obviously they're just trying to troll, right? So like I'll troll back, and like literally it's like I'm better than you. And then it was my first week at Khalsa school, so then I took time out with the older kids especially to kind of explain the importance of Sikhi. Like, not that they didn't hear, like, you hear by that thing, but I'm like, the reason why I do it, right? Like, it, once again, like mentioned at the beginning, like, it's something bigger than myself. It's like,
and then how did the girls react?
Authentic representation. Yeah, it was cool, because so, like, obviously these kids are trolling me in the hallways. They're like, why do you have a beard? Can I see your mustache? I'm like, yeah, here you go. Like, right? Like, let me show you. I was like, yo, can I have it? And I'm like, no. I was like, it's mine. Like, these kids are just trolling, but I feel like if you, like, humor is just such a powerful tool.
It's crazy because there are people that, like, I know that have been said things like that, and they've removed their gaze. Like, you know, so it's like, sometimes it's hard to deal with things like that, right?
Yeah.
So then I'm like, that's why I always love hearing these stories, because I'm just like, wow, this is how you chill in society.
Yeah, and then like and it was cool because like when we're sitting there like having a conversation about gays, like it was cool because at classical school there's kids that are obviously like they come to Sangha, they know like what Gursix and stuff like Lutbeg Ratman BB and stuff like that, but then there's some girls out there like they're at that age where like they're too young that their parents don't like take them to like salons and stuff, but they have gays, but like they're not Amritari, so it's like that in between like Punjabi girl awkward phase. And it's cool because I was talking about it, and like obviously like I'm here lecturing the boys, like that's what my main purpose was, like this is why I do it. Like they still joke about it obviously, but for me it was like cool because it seemed like the first time they've heard it first person. And there's girls sitting there and she doesn't have like, she has like cut hair, I guess you could say, and then like she's wearing earrings, but she has gaze, like she has facial gaze, and she's like, as I'm talking she's like pointing to her friend like, oh yeah, me too, because I said, yeah, I was like, I told the kids I was like, I have hair all over my body, like I was like shoe, I was like lip balm, mama, anywhere, I was like, because my guru loves me a lot. So it's like just presenting it in that positive light. It was cool to see like the reaction of the little girls, like the boys obviously, like for them it was like, I feel like when you react like that, it's something of respect, and like not letting it get to you, I feel like is super important. And I'm kind of like I troll them like to this day, like every day they see me, like every other day they've like, oh, can we see your beard, because obviously we wear masks at the school, and I'm like, no, you have to pay me $10 for the darshan. So I was like, humor is a powerful tool. But yeah, that's good times.
And then like obviously like getting older, or like getting to like marriage age and stuff, like so many BBS struggle with like, oh, like will Singh accept me, like will, like, because obviously like in today's society like there's so many situations that we've even seen that are like sad, right? Yeah. But then there's like some amazing things that I've also heard, which is like so inspiring. But like what would you say about that? Like what's your advice to like BBS that are literally like afraid, that they're like, I keep my gaze for my guru, but like,
yeah, honestly, like I can speak from experience. I was like, not that I've had many admirers, but I'm just kidding.
Just a few to stay in there. I'm just kidding.
But it's honestly like at the end of the day, it's really about what's inside you is what comes out. Like it's honestly like, I can like, me and my sister, I feel like, and like Benji guys, like you, like growing up the way we grew up, like a lower middle class family, like that type of thing, and like seeing the things we've seen, like living in neighborhoods that aren't like bougie, right? Like you see people and you get to know people from all different walks of life, and it's like, it's so important, I feel like, especially having kids, so like you really learn to not judge a book by its cover. And then with that, it's like, I feel like working on yourself, like being genuinely kind, genuinely being loving, caring, passionate, warm, like all those like really warm, good things. Yeah. Like it's like, I feel like it really overpowers any physical aspect of who you are, what you look like. And it's like I can, like, you feel like for example, like your grandparents, right? Like it was like, if your grandparents, like when you look at them, like they're like really old, wrinkly, like half the time they're not good looking, but like the love you feel from like a grandparent is like, it's beyond words. And you look at your grandparent and you see so much love, right? Like you feel that warmth, you feel that love, and it's like, because the physical beauty doesn't matter, because it's like and I feel like I can say that 100%, like if you're struggling with gays, or like your parents especially, like if they're pressuring you about that type of stuff, it's kind of like, yo, like genuinely what's inside you is gonna overpower any physical like obstacle that you think you have, like if you don't think you're pretty or whatever. And I'm like, and people will see that value within you, like they'll naturally like gravitate towards you, or like naturally like want your sangat, or even like you will attract those people in your life that like really accept you for you. And like it's really about the insides, like I'm like being positive and like being warm and like being like friendly and laughter and stuff, blah blah blah, like it really overpowers any sort
like
of
it's your vibes
stress.
like literally, even like
yeah.
It's crazy. We would like the amount of times we're randomly walking, like once there was a program in like the Northwest or something, we're literally walking, I was wearing like something so plain, right, whatever, like just a normal suit, and like this Gaudi was walking out of her house while we were walking to the house, and she's like, you look so beautiful, right? And my sister just looks at me, she's like, you look like this. She was like that, right? But it's crazy. Like, it's like, yo, man, you radiate. Like, even when we walked out of Benji's lunch, like the Derby, what's her name? She was like, you ladies look beautiful.
Oh,
like, and it's crazy. Like, it's like, yo, even like what's inside you is like so much more important.
Like literally, like at Rogers, like there's days where like I literally like no sleep whatsoever, and like I've had this lady come up and she's like I've had gays forever, and like so it's like, you know, like a party you like, unfortunately, like a party you does kind of accept that like society in general might not ever accept you, and like it's like, you know, who cares?
I always think of it as a positive.
And like society, it's like, and it's like, you know, you learn to value the people that are not accepted by society. Like, you know, you give people like the benefit of the doubt, or like you give people like an extra chance. And like this lady, she like looked at me and she's like you're like a model, and I'm like, you're crazy, but thank you. like I was like, you're like, it's cool. So it's like, I feel like it's literally like being real with yourself, like, you know, like recognizing that like it is something that you are gonna struggle with. Like I'm not sitting here telling you like I love my gays, like I like every day I'm like, oh my god, right? Like it's not like that. Like, we'll be real, like, you know, you'll have days where you like that's all that's magnified, but like at the end of the day, it's like, for me personally, it's like me keeping my gays represents something so much bigger than myself, and that's what's important.
That's what keeps you going.
That's yeah. Like I feel like yeah. Like,
even
like
with
first, and then
even at like Coors United, like the little girls, we're talking about this, and it's crazy because BBS struggle with like the gays on their head.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. Like there's so many like different things, right? And it's crazy because, you know, like the like guy stuff is like such a huge part of it that you're just like, will they accept it? And I was like, yo, Mara is just like filtering all the superficial guys. You don't want a superficial thing. 100%. Like
and like Sanjog is so important. Like I feel like it's cool. We were like with so Benji's older Benji, she got married and stuff, and it's like cool because it's like obviously like during that time, like with all the Gorsiks that were in town, and like you got to talk with them about Sangat, and one of the Babajis here locally, we were talking about like Sanjog, we were like, Babaji, like what is that? And then like we were asking Babaji like, oh, how does Sanjog, like it's such a fluid thing, and it's cool because Babaji was saying that like with Sanjog, it's like it's really, it like depends on your vasta too, like who like whoever's written for you is written for you, but then like let's say if you like excel, like if you do your Namabhyas or whatever, like Maharaj will like bring that person to the same level. So it's cool because it's like, yo, at the end of the day, like literally working on yourself,
like like the fact that like only thing that mattered was your avasta.
Yeah,
like at the end of the day, even at
like whoever's meant to be for you will find their way to you. Like, and it's like, and there is Sanjog written, like especially like everything's written, right? Like if you're meant to be with whoever you're meant to be, but then it's like if you haven't found somebody yet, it's because like maybe you're in like a transformative phase. I don't know.
You gotta do more abhyas.
Yeah, like not even you gotta do more. Maybe you are doing abhyas, and like you know you're at that, like you're gonna hit there, and the sing is there. Yeah, right. Literally, I'm 100% a believer in that. I was like, yo, 100%. Like I was like, if you think you can't find a husband, or Manaj will come themselves, and they'll be your husband for you. Oh my god. But yeah.
Well, even Harbir Pinji was, when I was talking to Harbir Pinji about it, she was like, even balancing like tyag and self-love at the same time. As in like tyag, as in like this, what is this body? At my grandma's funeral, like that pankti came. It was like, Iltanuego pasam ki teri. And I'm like, bruh, what is this body, right? And it's crazy, like, so I never forgot that pankti, right? And like, and then Benji was also talking about like, you know, you like still having that self-love, like still like, you know, you don't have hatred towards yourself, but then at the same time just having tyag, that, yo, what is this world? I'm always like, yo, Marriage made us so, like, you know, Marriage made us in a way that you can never fit in. Like, I love that. Like, I always think of it like that. And I'm like, Marriage is like, nah, bro, this is the world. This is, like, my culture. And, because I'm like, yo, you know, it's, like, so hard. You think, like, oh, man, like, it's so hard to fit into society. It's so hard to, like, be like seen as beautiful, normal, blah blah whatever, and I was like, this is a positive thing.
Oh, yeah,
I love like looking at the positives, but then it's crazy because that doesn't mean it's easy. Like I swear, like this year, uni started and it's like the world hit, like COVID ended, and the world hit, and I was like, whoa. So you will go out and like you talk to people, and I've always been in positions of like higher authority, like being an instructor, like a CPR or whatever, or like even like go to their side, like nobody's gonna like, you know, people come to you for stuff, so they're not gonna say anything negative to you, right? But when you're just out there, like, on the instant side, like, I was like, oh, so how do you interact? Like, what's normal
Just
here?
socialize.
I was like, no, but it's crazy because you might get self-conscious about gays. Like, even with me, like, I recently got gays, and I was like, so how do you navigate these spaces? Like, I was like, how do you guys do it? Like, I straight up was thinking about that. And like, this really helped.
No, thanks.
You just
It was
start
forced
trolling
against
it.
my
Apparently
will,
you
by
troll
the way.
everyone. That's how you do it.
Life is short, yo. Let's enjoy.
Yeah, yo, like, what are we actually here for?
Just kidding, do bug tea, but enjoy tea.
That is the enjoy.
But yeah.
Anything else? Yo, my favorite story, I'm gonna share that tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll share that tomorrow.
By yourself, right?
Sure. Joke. I'm just kidding.
Just kidding.
Favorite story and that of this. But anything else that you wanted to add? Let me see if there are any other questions. Benji was forced to do this. 100%.
That's right, Mira.
Benji comes every week with like a new story, and I'm like,
It's fine.
this is my life. Like, I love this. Like, it's crazy. Like, I love hearing it because you're just like, this is how you live in this inside. Like, I just love it. I think it's great.
Yeah. I'm not saying that it's not hard. Like, it is. I think it's cool because it's like being a BBS
Oh,
kid.
Benji, Benji worked at the police station where you're literally in a uniform and you look like a guy or a girl.
masculine
Like, you all
uniform, yeah.
you all look the same. And it's crazy, like, you know, you're there, you're at Rogers, you do Seva. Like, I'm like, you know, you're actually out there all the time. And it's like you experience these things, and this is like you're still here, like, powerful. So, like, what holds you, like, what keeps you from, like, falling or, like, you know, like, wavering or, like, feeling down? Or what's your go-to? What would you say to others, like, to keep you
I
positive
think,
or inspiring?
yeah, for me, it's like, for me personally, it's like sitting in the water, like actually just taking time out, sitting in the water, and be like actually like sharing your depressions with Maharaj, like, you know, like actually like sitting there like, Maharaj, like, yo, I'm struggling, help me, that type of thing. And then like just having, I personally love journaling, so I love, like, I write in like a diary, like the whole Dear Diary. Yep, I do that. Like, so I feel like with that, like writing those moments that are good and reading back to those, that's one thing that's really helped me. And then like other than that, it's kind of like, for me, it's like Mana just blessed me with Seva. And then I think like, I know if I were to ever like, hopefully, like if I were to lose my case, I would feel like I wouldn't do that Seva. And Seva is so pyari to me, so I feel like that's also kind of what keeps me, so I'm like literally just bribing myself.
Yeah,
I was
like, you feel like you have to live up to Maharaj's.
so it's
like,
cool.
you can't just talk.
Yeah, so it's like cool because it's like that kind of inspires me to do it as well. And
I feel like everybody has to find their own thing.
Yeah,
Like, one of the BBA that came here from France, like, she was telling us, like, she was like, she knew the value of her case. Like, she knew that, like, well, she does Simran, that her case does Simran with her. Like, you know, like, that was her thing.
like finding things like that.
Like,
Yeah,
and it's like,
I feel like that's important.
you just have, like, your own thing. Like,
Yeah.
what my thing has always been, like, I don't know what my thing is. My thing has always just been, like, something positive, as in, like, Maharaj wanted me to be different.
Benji
Like,
like Sakya, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe that is, I don't know. But, you know, like, you have your thing that just inspires you.
Yeah, it's just like Sikhi in general, like, you know, like you can just be a floater, or you can like find what you're passionate about and use that for you. It's like,
And you always, like, hold on to that. Or when you struggle, like, I remember, like, once, like, when somebody close to me, like, they removed their case, I was like, oh, that's a thing? Like, that's an option, right? Like, you know, like, I was like, what? And it's crazy, like, for
Yeah.
me right away, it was like, okay, I put on, like, I just searched a katha about case right away, and it's like 10 minutes in, you know.
Yeah,
Like,
and
you know
it's-
what, like,
I feel like it's important as well to understand that it's a struggle, and like, so being extra supportive, like your bibia, like your parents, like whether they removed their case or kept their case, it's like, yo, like if somebody I know removed their case, I'm like, yo, I understand 100,000% why you did it, and like just even giving them more love, because it's like
you don't.
It's
you
yeah,
always
like you
do
know
get
the
it.
struggle, like especially if you have kids, you know how hard it is, so it's like being extra loving towards them. And it's just kind of like, it's just like, yo, like I was like, Benji, like, you know, like, help me. I was like, you know, like, I love you, like, that type of thing, like, you know, like, you struggle so hard, like give me blessings, right? Like that, like
100%, like-
and like the more love you give, the more love you receive. So I feel like that's super important. But yeah, like, if you ever go to India, be careful, like, be prepared. India's not fun. I'm telling you. So I was like, being conscious of situations, like, if you're gonna walk into a situation where you know you're gonna feel awkward,
How
like,
do you mentally
literally
prep
psych
yourself?
up.
How would you, so if you know you're going to India, because obviously you guys had a hard time there because people are just like staring at you like
You're so rude. Just kidding. Just kidding.
so like people are staring at you, like how would you mentally prepare yourself, or like when you're scared and you're about to go into a situation, like how would you mentally prepare
I feel
yourself?
like being conscious of it, like being cognizant of like people, like, for example, like if I go in a situation, like, so going to India, we did not expect the reaction that we got. So like when we were younger, like, you don't notice these things, like, you're like lalus, right? So we went up to India after like a very long time. It was like this was the first time we went as like adults, so me and my sister, and like both of us have like case and stuff, and like sitting on like buses and trains, because we're not that bougie, we have to sit with the public. I was like or even like sitting in langar and stuff, so it's like we had
you
to,
know, like my just grief
literally so sad. I'm just kidding, but like, you know, people stare, and it's like sitting there, and it's cool because it's like the only time where we felt safe was Darbar. So that kind of like that in itself is nice, because it's like you're automatically running to Darbar, you're like, Manaj, save me, right? Like that type of thing. But then like, so being prepared for that, like, I know going one into my relative's house, like, this relative, he's so extra, like, it's one of my mamaji's, like, he's just like, oh, kitne case aage, blah blah blah,
you know, nobody has ever said it to me.
Really?
You know what's crazy? Like, it's like, you know,
You're
like
scared of
people,
you.
yeah, no, let's say people that I'll go in a situation with, and like they'll say it, they like said it to like my other family members, but they won't say it to me, and I'm like,
who's a kattad bibi, guys?
they
That's why
no, like, but I'm
they're all
like, it's
scared
good.
of
It
her.
makes me happy. Like, I'm like, you know, like they know that this is your Sikhi.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, why would you say anything?
Yeah.
So then what did they say?
So then, yeah, like, so my mamaji was like, blah, 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 like, your case, blah, blah, and we're like, okay, mamaji, like, okay, there's a reason we keep them, we're not doing this for fun, you know, like, and it's like, it's just explaining, like, the ithas behind it, and, like, you know, why this is why we do it, and, like, why it's important, like, you know, like, it's quality, like, if Singhs keep their kids, why can't Bibiyan keep their kids, like, you know, that type, like, that, like, just kind of, like, tackling desi uncle minds.
Yo.
Wow.
Things, like the amount of things that, like, you know, like at the end of life, like, you know, like Koshvi with like Sant Kartar Singh Ji, right? At the end of their life, like they got in a car accident, but then if they had surgery, they could have survived, but then they had to cut their case, and they were like, no, right?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, like they're
how
like, I'm not gonna do that.
valuable, yeah.
And it's like crazy because, you know, you look up to those things and you're like, Dan Sikhi, right? Like, you know,
Literally.
Paitaru Singh, anybody, right? So many Gursikhs that, like, those things, like, they, like, value their case that much, right? And it's like,
There's
yo,
a reason, bro.
same, bro,
like,
same.
They're not crazy, okay? Like,
but it's
yeah.
crazy, like, you know, that's a Singh's due, and, you know, you would praise them so much for being like that, for living to the end of their life with their case.
yeah.
But what about a BB?
It's crazy, yeah. It's 100%. I feel like it sucks because it's like there's so much debate about this stuff too, especially with like all the different like.
Even so many people,
stuff.
say like, oh, it's because your hormones, blah blah blah, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I got my hormones checked, and it's not because of that. Some people
Yo,
just have
it's
case.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's
My doctor
literally
looked at me. He's like, "Oh, do you want to get tested?" And I'm like, "Not really, but okay." But like, it's just.
But
Kudrati.
you, at the end of the day, yeah, it's Kudrati, and it's just marriage hookah.
Yeah.
Like, it's just meant
Mine
to
just
be.
kirpa.
Yeah.
Okay? Looks positivity.
I love it.
important.
No,
yeah.
but that's crazy because it's like, you know, there's so many people that like
Yeah.
will say stuff like that, like, oh my god, this is wrong, this, and you're like, yo, what if this is just how Marix wants?
It's crazy. It was like, so same thing with India, like, it was cool because there was like the whole time we're like, oh my god, kill us, like, everybody's staring, it was so annoying, whatever. But then we went to like Hajur Sahib, such kind of city, Hajur Sahib, and like, it was crazy because one of the drivers there, like, I wasn't there because I had to leave, but one of the drivers there went up to my sister and was like, I don't know if she explained this.
She
before.
shared it.
Yeah,
She shared
did,
it.
right? Yeah.
Go to.
He went up to my sister and he was like, literally like, you know, he's like, told all my friends about you, Bibiyan, because I looking at you, it brought tears to eyes because we were so proud to see that Bibiya in like Videsh Jaga are keeping their case, and like Sikhi and Pracharta, like, it's like that, it's so, you guys are so strong, you guys gave us so much happiness, Kushi, and like, I literally, like, my sister was talking this before and I'm like tearing up, like, just hearing about that, and like, especially because like it was such a like a weird time in our life, because you know, India, you think you're coming home, but like reality, you're like, okay, awkward. But yeah, but like like those moments, like having like recording those moments, and because it's like a mind thing, right? Like gays, like being conscious about it, it's literally just your mind, and like just like play your mind, right? Like think of all the positive moments and like reread those moments, go back to those, and like just tell your mind it's positive.
Every single time I'm like, everybody has a thing, right? Like, what do you go back to? I go back to your story, and that's always my inspiration, that this is why you keep gays. Oh my god.
That's so funny.
That was my thing. I'll share it tomorrow because...
Cute. Perfect. But yeah.
Okay, ready? This is my last 5 seconds. In case somebody wants to share anything. I mean, if somebody wanted to actually ask something, because I didn't actually prep anything. We just thought we'd jump on here.
Yeah. Against
I love Benji. Hi, Benji. Thank you.
She's all the hearts, guys. Aw. I'm just kidding. Okay. I'm gonna end with something.
Do you want to add anything?
No.
Any last questions?
If anybody has questions, sorry. Going once, going twice. That is
Please
all.
forward them to
Good
me.
night,
Send
America.
them to Benji. This is the one and only time you'll ever see Benji not be good.
This is her God. Why did you I'm signing out today. Just kidding. Okay, we should end with morning.
Okay.
Let's do a movement. That's my favorite thing. Like says you ek oankar satnam karta purkh nirbhav nirvair akal murt ajuni sabang gur prasad jap आद सच जुगाद सच है भी सच नानक होसी भी सच वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह. Please don't take anything I said seriously. Sorry, Manoj. Thank you. Forgive me. Thank you. Bye.